Yeah, ready? Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I will now ask you to take the formal declaration of acceptance of office. If you can repeat after me. I, Linda Winter.
I, Linda Winter.
Having been elected.
To
the office of Mayor of the City of Derby.
To the office of Mayor of the City of Derby.
Declare that I.
Take that office upon myself.
And will duly and faithfully. Fulfil the duties of it. According to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe. The code as to the conduct. Which is expected of the members of Derby City Council.
Thank you.
You need to sign it. You need to sign on this line here. Thank you. Okay. Right. And now it is.
Thank you. Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, distinguished guests, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and thank you for being here this morning. I would like to thank my family, friends, neighbours and colleagues for their support today, and to thank Chaddesden ward members and my fellow ward councillors, Sarah Bolton and retired councillor Anne MacDonald, for their support over the past 2 years and for being so generous with their time, knowledge and advice. My main thanks, however, go to the residents of Chaddesden who voted for me in 2015. Without their vote, I wouldn't be here now. Thank you for voting for me today and giving me the chance to give something back to Derby, the city that has given me so much. As you probably already know, my husband was Derby born and bred and loved this city almost as much as he loved Derby County. Indeed, the first time he saw Anne-Marie, he was holding a Derby County baby grow, which he had bought 4 months before her birth, but he did hedge his bets and get it in lemon. Not only has Derby given me my husband, 2 ready-made children and my daughter, but it enabled me to train and become qualified in childcare and education. Firstly, studying for my diploma at Normanton Road College, and then my MVQ3 at Will Morton College. Both colleges are no more, and I sincerely hope it had nothing to do with me. I opened Playdays Opportunity Group in 1993 in a small room at our local infant school with the support of the head teacher, and was able to offer free places to those children whose parents could not afford to pay. This was in the days before vouchers and funding. An ethos I am proud to say we have always carried through. We have also given children with special needs the opportunity to integrate with mainstream peers, and again, we are still doing this. It's something that is very important to me, that all children have the same opportunities, regardless of their needs and of their family's means. It is important as well for me to tell you that this, as the theme of my mayoral year, is community and integration. I believe there is tremendous strength within communities for caring and support, and this can change the lives of people who live in them for the better. Derby City Council do a great job with the support of the elderly and vulnerable with their local area coordinators. I know this as I have worked with them, well, 1 or 2 of them in the past, and hope to be able to do so in the future. But isolation does not just happen to the elderly and vulnerable. It can happen at any age, to the mum who goes on maternity leave, who has given up work to have a baby and doesn't know anybody else with babies. Life can be quite lonely. To carers whose everyday lives revolve around looking after someone. To all of these people, life can be lonely and daunting without support. I would like over the next municipal year to explore options and strategies to support the community spirit that I know is within Derby and put something back into the city. The charities that I shall support over the next year have not been finalised yet due to lack of time really, but any money raised will go to charities within the city of Derby. Certainly a children's charity and hopefully a few others. I will be contacting some of the local charities over the next few weeks to ask if I can visit them and have first-hand experience of the jobs that they do. Once again, thank you for being here and thank you for voting for me. Thank you. Can I have nominations for the election of the Deputy Mayor of the City of Derby, please? Councillor Froggatt.
I'd like to nominate Councillor John Whitby.
Right, seconder? Thank you. Thank you. Any other nominations? Yes, Councillor Wood.
Surprise Councillor Frank Harwood and everything I said earlier.
Right.
Seconded, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. Can we hear from you then, Councillor Froggatt?
You can.
Thank you.
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Madam Mayor, distinguished guests, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Mayor, I am hugely proud to nominate Councillor John Whitby to become your deputy for the next municipal year. John is not only a ward colleague as my Mackworth councillor, but he's also a friend who I consider to be richly deserving of this opportunity. I am sure councillors across the chamber will agree with me that John brings with him the fair-minded approach and even-handedness to be an asset to the mayoralty as your deputy. He is liked and respected by everyone, irrespective of their political preference. In committee meetings, John brings a cool and calm approach to everything he does. He has been extremely good in overview and scrutiny chair and a very safe pair of hands when dealing with licensing matters. Within his scrutiny role, John has chaired the Council's Children and Young People's Boards in various guises for several years. He is passionate about delivering the very best services to children and young people, an area about which he cares deeply. To this end, John has also sat for several years on the Council's adoption panel. We all know as councillors that we have a duty to all the children and young people in care in this city as corporate parents. John is the role model in this regard. Not only does he thoroughly care in his corporate role, but he has in fact for many years been a foster carer himself. John is someone who says he wants to contribute to society and then he does it. He is a brilliant ward councillor, taking the concerns of residents seriously and making sure he delivers for them. Madam Mayor, I am absolutely thrilled to see you sitting in that chair. It is a great shame that Councillor Titley was unable to make the next step we anticipated, but you are a most able and capable mayor who will serve the city with great vigour as first citizen. But I'm sure you too will want the best deputy available, and I have every confidence that John is that person. Madam Mayor, fellow councillors, I commend to you Councillor John Whitby as the Deputy Mayor of the City of Derby for the next municipal year. Thank you.
Councillor Wood, would you like to?
I have nothing to add to my previous speech except for adding the word deputy into the recommendation.
Okay, all right then, thank you. Right. Right then, shall we move to the vote? All those in favour of John Whitby? And those in favour of Councillor Harwood? Right. Thank you. Councillor Whitby has been appointed as Deputy Mayor of the City of Derby.
Mr Deputy Mayor, I will now ask you to take the formal declaration of acceptance of office. If you can repeat after me. I, John Whitby,
I, John Whitby,
having been elected
to
the office of the Deputy Mayor of the City of Derby,
to the office of the Deputy Mayor of the City of Derby,
declare that I
take that office upon myself
and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of the members of Derby City Council. Thank you. Can I just ask you to sign? Sign on here.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Madam Mayor, distinguished guests, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's everyone. For someone who was born and bred and has lived all of his life in Derby, this is a huge honour. My family's connection with this great city goes back the best part of a century. I'm a third generation Derby resident and also a third generation Derby supporter. I'd like to thank Councillor Froggatt for nominating me. Many thanks for the speech. Just to make it clear, I didn't write that. But I agree with every word. Thank you. I also want to thank my fellow councillors for supporting me, and also want to just say a word of thanks to my friend and colleague, the outgoing Mayor of Derby, Councillor Paul Pegg, without who I probably wouldn't even be a councillor for Macclesfield in the first place. You've been a fantastic Mayor, and many people are going to benefit from the money you've raised. So thank you to you, Paul. I'm grateful to the people of Macclesfield as well, of course, for giving me the opportunity to represent them. It's such a fabulous thing to be a councillor, actually being able to help people. And although I'm going to be busy this year, I'll try and keep my residents' best interests at heart during my year as the Deputy Mayor. Congratulations to you, Madam Mayor, on being the first citizen of Derby. I'll do my best to support you and your charities this year, and I just hope I can do justice to the role. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, we have the motion that the thanks of this council be given to Councillor Paul Pegg for the zeal, impartiality and ability with which he has discharged the duties of the office of Mayor of the City during the year. Do I have a proposer? Yep.
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Madam Mayor, distinguished guests, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, Madam Mayor, may I congratulate you on your election today and wish you all the best for the coming year.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll be a fantastic first citizen, and I'm sure you agree with me, you have a tough act to follow.
Definitely, yes.
It was a great privilege to stand before the Chamber this time last year to honour my good friend and colleague, Councillor Paul Pegg, and to nominate him to become the first citizen and Mayor of Derby. I had no doubt that he would fulfil his duties with the dignity and respect befitting of the role. Paul has handled these responsibilities of the office with diligence and zeal. I mentioned last year, Madam Mayor, that there was one notable exception from the proceedings, Paul's wife, Jill, who sadly passed away in 2007. I said then that she would be looking down on Paul with affection and he would do her proud in the coming year. Paul, you sure have lived up to that expectation. And much, much more. Doing the Labour group, the council, the ward of Mackworth and the whole city very proud. And I'm sure it's Jill's influence that helped you serve the city so well for many years, and particularly in this last year. Paul, you've always been a pillar of your community, and at times even referred to as Mr. Mackworth. A title that is richly deserved. This year, however, when friends, colleagues and family talk about Mr. Derby, I know who they mean. Since the formation of the Mackworth Community Association, you and your friends have raised, now I'm told, over £2 million for good causes in Mackworth. And it's this experience that I'm sure has stood you in good stead in this last year, raising record funds for your good causes throughout the year. I know you've attended many functions, events, openings, including the odd dinner or two during the last year. From attending community centres and schools, religious events, to the many sporting events, you have worked tirelessly for the city and for your good causes throughout the year. From the events that I've seen you at, Paul, people have mentioned there's always one underlying comment. How does he manage to make everyone feel so involved? You would never just occupy the top table. Sometimes, to the annoyance of the organisers, you'd instead be mingling with everybody at these events, irrespective of their age, backgrounds or belief. Paul has always been a thoroughly hard-working councillor. Your return to frontline council duties is welcomed by the Labour group and I'm sure the whole council. And I'm sure you'll continue to serve the residents of Mackworth and Derby with as much passion and as vigour as you have always done. I have previously mentioned your record-breaking fundraising year, but I think I should also mention another record or two you have set. You have attended a huge amount of events, very rarely declining an event even at short notice. Unfortunately, some felt that it would give them some advantage by submitting a record number of frivolous complaints against you, complaints that I must add have always been rejected. Some felt that it would be game to repeatedly attack you and your family, again for some personal advantage for themselves. Despite this vindictiveness, Paul, you've always managed to keep strong for your family, for the community, and rose above this nonsense. I would like to congratulate you on comfortably holding your Mackworth seat on the council, despite spending the whole year focusing on the mayoral duties. Paul, you do wear your heart on your sleeve and are forthright in your views, but your infectious laugh and approachable demeanour means you are always a friend to all. These are the traits that made you an ideal candidate to be Mayor of Derby, and your sense of fun has no doubt been a great asset to the office you diligently served. It was without a moment's hesitation that I nominated you, Paul, to become First Citizen and Mayor of Derby last year, and I'm truly delighted that I did. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for a dedicated servant of the city and its residents, Mr. Mackworth, promoted now to Mr. Derby, my colleague and friend, Councillor Paul Pegg.
Thank you, Councillor Shanker. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Russell. Councillor Barker, you want to speak?
Thank you, Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. It is with pleasure that on this side of the chamber I concur with the remarks that's just been made by Councillor Shanker. I don't know whether it's generally known, but Councillor Pegg and I were at school together many years ago at Ricknold. I'd like to think that it was the wisdom and forthright nature that Paul displays that he gained from me. Unfortunately, that's totally untrue, because he's actually older than me. And so therefore he got the grumpiness from me, but nothing else. On a serious side, I think over the past 12 months, as Councillor Shanker has said, we have seen the best of Paul. He's conducted the office with due diligence, and his humour in controlling the debates that sometimes get heated within this council was fair and often, again, very forthright. We would like to thank him for that impartiality and the efforts in respect of his duty. I know that Paul, again, as Councillor Shanker said, has gone to many events through this past 12 months. I've met most of him at ones that involve beer. And it's been unfortunate, because he's wearing the robes and the chain of office, that he's not been able to partake quite as frequently as he would have done in the past. But on now, Paul, we will be able to again enjoy a beer together at these various functions that we go to. It is a pleasure to have, in actual fact, been in this chamber while Paul was the mayor. We do thank him for his partisan nature in relation to the way that he's conducted that business, but at the same time with the humour and with the fairness that one would expect from that office. I do hope, as I say, that he now enjoys the rigours of being back to Mr Mackworth, and continues in his normal, friendly, lovable nature. Paul, we offer our congratulations to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Barker. Councillor Graves.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It is with a heavy conscience that I speak on this motion, but when right and wrong become so blurred that it becomes normal, it is important that someone speaks out. There is a culture of bully boy tactics that has grown in this council, stemmed from the ruling group on the council, which has seeped into the psyche of the council, and even spilled over as modus operandi from some quarters of the press. I am absolutely convinced that the public eye and the fundraising side of the mayor's role was performed well in most parts. In recent history, the mayor's role has been allowed to become more and more politicised, and in the last municipal year, the council chamber has experienced the worst chairman in its history. In the full council, Councillor Pegg has been anything but impartial, especially towards the smaller groups on the council, and so I have an amendment to the motion.
Ladies and gentlemen, councillors, the motion is that Councillor Graves wishes for the word impartiality to be deleted from the wording of the motion. If the amendment is approved, the motion will read as follows: that the thanks of this council be given to Councillor Paul Pegg for the zeal and ability with which he has discharged the duties of the office of Mayor of the City for the past year.
Councillor Russell, you want to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sure a lot of us could say a lot on that amendment in this chamber, but actually I don't think it deserves any airtime whatsoever, so I propose we move to the vote.
Right, okay, let's move to the vote then. Those in favour of the amendment? Thank you. Those against?
Has it been seconded?
Right, so the amendment is lost. Amendment is lost.
Okay, thank you. The amendment is lost. Thank you. Can we vote, please, on the amendment as printed in the agenda? The motion, sorry.
In the agenda.
In the agenda. Thank you. Moving on.
Madam Mayor, can I have my vote recorded against, please?
Madam Mayor, in order to have a recorded vote, you need 10 members or more. And therefore, the fact that there has been one vote in favour of the amendment is recorded, and the number of votes against the amendment have also been recorded. But for a recorded vote, you need 10 members or more.
I'm not looking for a recorded vote. I'm asking for my vote to be recorded against in the minutes.
Do you want to invite the retiring mayor to give his speech?
Yes. Moving on, I'd like to invite Councillor Pegg, retiring mayor, to give you a speech. Thank you.
Don't be grumpy, Paul.
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Madam Mayor, distinguished guests, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even going to mention it, so don't worry about it. I would like to thank colleagues in the Labour Party who nominated me and the members of this chamber from the Conservatives and Liberal parties who supported my nomination for the honour of being the mayor of this great city of Derby. Thank you. I'd also like to take this opportunity at this point in time of thanking all the officers that have worked tirelessly to help me achieve many of my goals this year. £10, thanks a lot. So, especially Mick, the driver, Colette, the returning officer and the chief executive. Without their support, some of the work that I've done this year would not have been possible. And I thoroughly want to thank you all for all that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much indeed. In spite of all the unfounded shenanigans that have been going on behind the scenes with a certain party, I have attended over 600 events during my term in office and every one of those has been memorable in its own right. I've had a fantastic year visiting many places within the city that I had not been to previously, meeting thousands of our citizens from all backgrounds, faiths and ethnicity. I can't say that word very well. I'm not at a pint, mate. I could not say that visiting schools was any better than visiting a care home, hospice, temple, Gurdwara, Christian church, or opening a new premises, as they are all important to those citizens present, no matter what their age or background. I travelled out to Nepal as a guest of Professor Rajan and the team Neverest Orthopaedics, having never been out of the United Kingdom previously. The trip led
led the team to adopting an orphanage and working towards building a specialist spinal unit for children as well as a purpose-built orphanage. When I stood up in front of everyone last year, I pledged to raise funds for two main causes. The first being disability sport within this great city, and the second for the Nepal disaster. Thanks to an anonymous donation of £50,000, I have raised over £60,000 for those charities. Most of that funding was specifically for the spinal unit and the orphanage in Nepal. That's what the people made their cheques out to. But I'm going to stick to my pledge. The remaining £6,278.37 will be split equally between the orphanage in Nepal, disability side of Cricket Derbyshire Foundation, and Derby County Community Trust. I'm afraid Professor Rajan couldn't get here today to receive the cheque on behalf of the Team Neverest. I presented his cheque yesterday. So could I ask, and he's disappeared, Simon Carnell from Derby County Trust to come forward, please, to receive a cheque. And the cheque is for £2,992p, 79 pence each. Simon's just informed me that Andy from Cricket Derbyshire's just had to rush out. One of his family members has just been rushed to hospital, so I hope everything goes well there. Madam Mayor, I hope that you have a great time over the next year. I know you will meet some fantastic people. I wish you every success in the coming year, as I do my fellow councillor, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Whitby. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for all your support last year, and long may we reign together. Cheers.
Do we have any apologies?
Councillor Carr, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any others? No. Right, item 5. Sorry. Item 5 is to appoint the Pinder and Tenter. This appointment has been made at annual meetings of the Council since time immemorial. The duties of the office are the impounding and tending, i.e. feeding and maintaining of stray animals, a single fee being payable for impounding together with the cost of keeping. The Pinder and Tenter, as Tenter, also has the responsibility for animals belonging to the Burgesses, grazing on common land. There is no salary attached to this office. So the motion is that the markets officer be appointed Pinder and Tenter for the ensuing year.
Agreed?
Agreed? Thank you. I'd now like to adjourn the council meeting till 6 p.m. today. Can we second? Have a seconder?
Deputy Mayor, seconded.
Right, lovely, thank you. Right, can I invite those present to join us in Derby Cathedral for a civic service to mark my forthcoming term of office? Thank you.